Hello! So, I am making pemmican right now. So this is the first step. First step of pemmican is to purchase or hunt or however, about 3 to 4 pounds of a gamey meat, either bison, deer, caribou, elk, any type of gamey meat. Key point being that it can't have a lot of fat on it. So the first step is to cut your meat into roughly about the size proportion that you want for your rendered fat. So because the proportion to rendered fat to meat is about 1 to 4, I've chosen about 3 pounds of meat, and I'll be using about 0.75 approximately of rendered fat. So this is the first step. Hello, okay, second step. So after some bloody hands and a little bit of cutting, you want to have your meat approximately cut into about 1/4 inch to about 3/4 inch slices. So you slice against the grain of the meat itself, and you want to end up with kind of slabs like this. Now these are a little bit big, but that's because I have the upper leg of the deer. So of course it's a bigger cut. You can alternatively either cut it that way, so it's about half that, or even cut it down the middle, but I'll do this because it will be in the oven for quite a while. Okay, and this is where we move on to the third step. Now the third step, you want to, excuse the dirtiness of the oven, regardless, you want to cover the bottom rack of your oven with the drip rack to capture the drippings, and you want to take your meat like so, and you want to separate it like that, about yay part, like this, and I will update when we're back with all of the the deer on the oven rack. Hello everybody, we are back, and this is it. So you want to have your meat separated approximately like that, making sure that it doesn't touch one another, so it also has enough time to cook and it doesn't bind with each other in the cooking process. And now this is the most essential part. So after putting your deer or your game in the oven, you can close that baby. Okay, and now you want to put your oven approximately the lowest setting. So this is 150, but I will put it on 175 degrees. And now you want to leave that in for about 8 hours approximately. It can take up to 15 hours, but we will check on this after 8 hours. Yeah, so I will see you guys back in about 8 hours. Hello everyone. Okay, so the jerky is now finished, and I will show you what it looks like when it finishes. So, as you can see, it's a little black. It might look burnt, but it's not actually. That's just the process of drying it out. So, if it's done correctly, you should see it. It's difficult to do it with one hand. You should see it crack like that. See, it won't crack in half, but it should tear. It should be rather easy to do that. So perfect, so that's done. So I will just take this off, and then we get to the next step, the rendering of the tallow, or the fat. Okay, see you soon. Hello, we are back, and we've moved on to the next step, the rendering of the beef, or the fat. In this case, I'm using a pork fat, see? So this is the pork fat, and this is taken directly from the back of the pig. As you can see, the skin is actually in the top, and this is just the fatty layer. So I will break this up, and I will show you guys what it has to look like before you start rendering it. See you in 2 seconds. Hello everybody, I'm back. Okay, this is what the finished result will look like. You can cube this or dice this, but the important part to remember is that with pig, you're unlikely to have any fibers in the actual fat, but with something like beef or bison or elk or even deer, you are likely to have fat fibers. So you want to remove those fibers before you put it in your cast iron pan and render it. Okay, and make sure to always, use as much fat as you can. Leave nothing to waste, because there's no point in it. Okay, and I will see you guys in the next step. Okay everyone, and this is the next step. This is the beginning of the rendering the fat process. Go. So as you can see, you put it in a large cast iron pot or pan, and you want to make sure it's in the lowest possible temperature. That's imperative for the cooking process, because if you burn the fat, you'll have to restart all over again. And if you've been shopping in Montreal, you'll know how difficult it is to fat. Of course, you wouldn't be purchasing fat if this was made the original way, which is through the actual hunting process, but nevertheless. Now you want to let it slowly simmer, and at the very beginning you want to take a pan or a spatula of sorts, and you want to mix it around so you make sure that it doesn't start burning. And then eventually it'll become a little less hands-on. But in the meantime, you can enjoy a nice piece of your jerky which is edible. Okay, I will see you all soon. Hello everybody. Well, after some time later, the pork is nearly finished rendering now. So the important part about the pork is that you need to let it stop bubbling. Once it stops bubbling, it means the fat is rendered, and at that point you can sieve it. So now we move on to the blending of the meat. So traditionally, you would take your game, your now dried jerky, and you would blend it with either hammering it with a rock, crushing it with a mortar and pestle, or tearing it with your hands. But conventionally, we can now use a blender. So that's what I'll be using. So here, there you go. It's blended into coarse, fine meat. And so now we will do the rest, and we will get to mixing the rendered pork with the deer as soon as the rendering has completed. I will see you guys soon. Okay everybody, now that the pork is rendered, you will have a dirty pan and what have you. You have your leftover bits, but you can do away with those because with the final product. Final product will look like this. You'll kind of golden rendered fat, and you'll have your kind of coarse game meat. So now you want to mix these together, and for the final step, once mixed, thoroughly mixed, once the coarse meat sticks together and you can roll it into a ball, you let it cool, and then you're done. And then you have your pemmican. So we'll see you soon.